All right, so let's see how we can set up the AWS CLI. You have to download the AWS CLI for Windows operating system. So if I go to my CMD, which is my command prompt, and try to type AWS, hit the enter key, you see that my system does not recognize what I'm trying to do. And that's because I've not installed the AWS CLI on this machine. And so to get AWS CLI installed, all we need to do is go to the web and type AWS CLI Windows or AWS CLI Linux or AWS CLI Mac. And we hit on this first link here. It's going to open up another page where we are going to see instructions as to install the AWS CLI version 2. Installing or updating the latest version of the AWS CLI. So if we click on this link here, it's going to turn us to another page yet again where we have a download link to download the AWS CLI version 2.msi. Already I've downloaded this, so in my download directory in the system, you could see a folder here called AWS CLI. So this is .msi install. So we're just going to install this application. Double click on it and launch the Amazon Web Services CLI that allows us to manage AWS resources from the CLI, which is command line interface, instead of using the AWS Management Console, which is the GUI, the graphical user interface, which we've been using all this while. We're going to hit the next button and we're going to accept the license agreement. We're going to go to next and then install, and hopefully the installation is going to complete successfully. All right, so could just hit on the finish button to finalize this installation, and hopefully the AWS CLI should be successfully installed now. And to test if it's installed, we are going to the command prompt again. Initially, when I type AWS here, it told me that this is not recognized. So let's try again, AWS, and hit the enter key. All right, so you could see it gives us some options, some AWS help commands that help us see what kind of command we should issue from this command prompt. Now to check if this AWS is fully installed, we're going to do AWS -- version. So let's see the version of AWS that was installed, and sure enough, this guy is good to go, is successfully installed. This is AWS CLI 2.4.7 and it is in Python 3.8. all right, this is running on Windows 10 PC. And so you can see that we have successfully downloaded the AWS CLI for Windows, and we have also successfully installed it on this machine. All right, from now on, we should be able to run some commands from our command prompt here, and we'll be able to manage AWS resources, but not yet because we have to configure this AWS CLI before it can work. Now what we are going to do first is to type AWS configure. We're going to hit the enter key, and so it's asking us for access key ID. All right, so access key ID can be created in the AWS Management Console. So if I get into my AWS Management Console, I'm going to get into IAM. So you see already I'm in IAM, which is Identity and Access Management. To locate IAM, we just type IAM in the search and it pops up. Sorry, this is on the web. All right, so type IAM and it pops up here, this first one, Identity and Access Management. So IAM is actually used to manage groups, users, roles, and also apply policies to different users we have within the AWS resources. And so here we go to users, and you see I've created a couple of users here, and these users, I want them to be accessing the resources I have in my AWS Management Console, and some of these users already added as members of admin groups. All right, and so I have a user called Emmy. All right, So let's look at the user called Joy. This was created 62 days ago. Probably I did not remember the password of this particular user. So I'm going to click on the user Joy. By the way, to create a user is very straightforward. Just click on add user, the top right hand side. All right, so we could actually create another, add this guy, this Joy, to a permission of maybe a support group or whatever group we want to add her to be a member of. But what we are going to do here is to create an access key, because you notice here when we need to configure the AWS CLI and it's asking us for access key ID. All right, so I'm just showing an example of how access key ID could be created, and you need to use IAM, which is Identity and Access Management, to achieve that. All right, so we're using a sample user that we have created earlier, which is Joy, and then we're going to click on security credentials. All right, so under security credentials, we are going to just scroll down, and here you can see access keys, and have to click on create access key. All right, so this access key is going to be used to set up the AWS CLI on this system, and it's actually asking us for access key ID. All right, so here we have two things. We have access key ID and we have secret access key. Now there's a warning here: never post your secret access key on public platform such as GitHub. This can compromise your account security. So if someone have access to your access key ID, secret access key, the person could have access to your whatever resource that secret access key have access in your AWS resources. All right, so you are seeing mine here. I could also look at the secret access key. I'm going to delete this the moment I'm done with this recording. Never share yours with anyone. They should be kept private. Please try to save it in a safe place so that you can easily have access to it. Now, getting back to this AWS CLI setup, we typed AWS configure, and AWS access key ID is being requested. So let's get into the portal again. This is the access key ID. So this is AWS access key ID. All right, so we have copied the access key ID. I'm coming to the command prompt. Going to go to edit and paste. Hit the enter key. Is now asking us for AWS secret access key. We'll get back to the portal again, and this is the secret access key. I'm going to copy it. Control C. Get back to the command prompt. I'm going to right click here. Go to edit and paste. That is the secret access key. And then default region name. Now, what region do you want your resource to reside? So get back to AWS Management Console, and whenever you look at here, you can actually have different regions. Maybe I want my resources to reside in US West. This is the code here, US West 1, as US East 2. Or how about I keep it to North Virginia, which is US East 1. So US-East-1 is what I'm going to type here. So I'm going to type US East 1 and hit enter. And then default output format. So the format that is mostly used in AWS document is JSON. So I'm going to say JSON. All right, and that's the end of the configuration of AWS CLI. Also, we are going to stop this video here, and then in the next video, we're going to see how we can use AWS CLI to manage our resources in the AWS instead of using the console. Like what we are seeing here is AWS Management Console, where we use the GUI, that is a graphical user interface. We use our mouse to click our way to whatever we want to do. For now, we have installed the CLI, and the CLI obviously is going to allow us to manage the AWS resources from the command prompt of our Windows operating system. This could also be done from Mac and also Linux OS, as long as AWS CLI has been downloaded and installed on those operating systems. Thank you so very much, and then we'll see again when we begin to use the AWS CLI to manage the Amazon Web Services resources.